afternoon, Vol Nation. Welcome to Vol Society Live, the matinee edition on this Thursday afternoon as we are 45 minutes away from kickoff in the 2021 Music City Bowl in Nashville, Tennessee at Nissan Stadium. My name is David Morrison. I am the Vol Society analyst here on the Vol Society Network. Thank you for joining us here as we're getting ready for this big game coming up at the top of the hour. Welcome everyone watching on Facebook and on YouTube. Don't forget, follow our Facebook page, facebook.com/UT Vol Society. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Doing really well over on the YouTube side, so let's continue to roll in that momentum. A lot going on. Like I say, Music City Bowl, excited about it. I think this is going to be a pretty easy win for the Volunteers, just kind of doing some research. What do y'all think about it? Go ahead and leave your comments in whether you're watching us on Facebook or YouTube, and we'll try to read them out loud. So I got the chat room on my side. We kind of covered it, this game a little bit on previous live streams, but we're going to kind of go ahead and just break it all down before the game. Like I said, Tennessee, Purdue meeting this afternoon in the Music City Bowl. Purdue's coming into this contest 8-4 on the season. So we go ahead and pull up their schedule for the year. They finished, mentioned 8-4 on the year. Started out the season with a couple of wins. Hello to my grandparents. Started out the season with a couple wins over Oregon State and UConn, and then they lost at Notre Dame on September the 18th, and then picked up their first conference win the week later against Illinois, dropped a game to Minnesota, and then they went to Iowa on October 16th when the Hawkeyes was ranked number 2 in the country at the time and upset them 24-7. And then, of course, anytime you upset a team, you always have that hangover the week after, and that's what happened, losing at home to Wisconsin 30-13. Won at Nebraska on October the 30th, 28-23, and then their second top 5 upset of the year happened on November the 6th when they defeated Michigan State 40-29, and then they followed up a loss at the Horseshoe in Ohio State 59-31, and then they finished their season with back-to-back Big Ten wins over Northwestern and Indiana. So 6-3 in the Big Ten for Purdue. 8-4 overall. So, like I said, this team has been kind of consistent from time to time. Like I said, upsetting 2 top 5 programs on the year, that's no easy task for any team, unless maybe you're in Alabama or Georgia, I guess. But for the rest of the college football landscape, that's very impressive. Like I said, kind of looking at their season here, Aiden O'Connell, the quarterback who you'll see today, has been the primary quarterback throughout the year. They started with Plummer the first 3 games of the year, and then it's been O'Connell. The rest of the time, he had a career-high 536 yards passing in that Michigan State upset win. So, like I said, Purdue loves to throw the football, just kind of Jeff Brom's style, and he had been going to their all Big Ten wide receiver, David Bell. But David Bell is not playing in this game today. He pulled out to focus on the NFL draft. And some other guys have pulled out, and we'll talk about them in just a minute. But, like I said, Purdue's going to throw the pigskin around all afternoon. Like I said, Tennessee secondary is going to have to be ready. Of course, not having Alontae Taylor kind of hurts a little bit. But, I want to see can the rest of that secondary get ready and not give up kind of some big plays, even though Purdue is going to be shorthanded. Like I said, I can't wait to see what Tim Banks and this entire defensive staff comes up with. I mean, if I'm just playing Monday morning quarterback, or in this case, Thursday afternoon quarterback, I would be going after the quarterback the entire time. And like I said, I mentioned last night on the basketball live stream, just make it a very long afternoon for Purdue. And let's go ahead and get this easy win out of the way. So I mentioned some players on Purdue that is not playing. We mentioned David Bell not playing. They're all all conference, possibly all American wide receiver. So Purdue is losing a 1,200 yard receiver on the year, not playing in this game this afternoon. And then we come to find out, probably in the last week or so, that their number 2 wide receiver, Milton Wright, is not going to play. So Purdue is already down their 2 top wide receivers in Bell and Wright. So a lot of production is gone. David Bell with 6 touchdowns on the year. Milton Wright has 7. So, that definitely kind of eliminates that home run deep ball for the Boilermakers. But we'll have to kind of keep an eye out on Jackson Anthrope. He averaging 10 yards per catch on the year with 48 receiving catches and 496 yards. Peyton Durham, I've read a lot of things that it seems like Aiden O'Connell really likes going to him. He's the tight end, or excuse me, Peyton Durham. Let me clarify that name a little bit better. Peyton Durham, 40 catches, 382 yards, 4 touchdowns. I did watch a little bit of Purdue's highlights this afternoon, kind of prepping, and he is a big, strong tight end. Kind of reminds me of a Jack Doyle of the Indianapolis Colts. Chad chiming in. Welcome in, Chad. Good afternoon. Go Vols. Doesn't Hayden take Taylor's spot? That's a good question. Talking about Kamal Hayden. I would say so. I'll say he'll get a lot of guys kind of playing today in the secondary with Hayden. Obviously, Warren Burrell's a normal starter. Brandon Turnage, I think he might play a little bit of the corner. So I would say Josh Heupel and even the defensive staff probably just going to kind of figure out who fits best. But, I probably wouldn't sweat it too much. Like I said, with Purdue having their 2 top wide receivers not playing in this game. So, like I said, I just want to see Tennessee just make smart plays and break up some passes. Like I said, you still got Jalen McCullough and Theo Jackson, who's done a great job controlling the middle of the field and definitely preventing guys getting to that second level as far as wide receivers go. So I'm very confident in that. Just, interesting to see how the rest of the defense does. Obviously, I'm excited about the defensive line. Matthew Butler, and that entire front unit. I think they're going to really go after the quarterback. Linebackers is obviously going to be the issue, which has been all year, is, watching them slants over the middle, because especially if we're playing 2 safeties deep, can Jeremy Banks make a stop there? Another player that's out, a couple of defensive players for Purdue is not going to play. George Karlafius, the defensive end for the Boilermakers, not going to play. Another guy opting out for the NFL. And then I read, let me pull this up on my phone here. Cam Allen, the defensive back from the junior defensive back, not playing in this game. Didn't really go full details. Seems like he is not playing in this game from what I've read. No, I'm sorry. I lied to you. Dietrich Mackey's not playing today. Cam Allen is going to play today. That's I was reading this on Fanside. Some of the players they're talking about. So, yeah, Dietrich Mackey, the number 1 defensive back, not playing. It's not Cam Allen. So, clarify that a little bit better. Like I said, I think as far as Tennessee goes, just execute their game plan. It seems like the Vols are very excited to play in the Music City Bowl. And I know with COVID and sickness going around, there's been several games kind of get postponed, which looks like everything is good to go for today's game. It seems like Tennessee was, they asked about that too this week, and it seemed like the players definitely want to play and put a nice end to this first year of the Josh Heupel era. Obviously, we already know the key players for Tennessee, but, Hendon Hooker leads the way. He is the maestro of this offense. Over 2,500 yards passing, 500 yards rushing. So he is, like I said, he's going to direct this offense throughout the day, and he has all year and done an excellent job, and excited to see what 2022 brings. I don't know if we've mentioned this on the recent live streams, but Hendon Hooker announced that he is coming back next year for the Volunteers, along with Cedric Tillman. And you got an offensive line that's going to be healthy in a year experience like Jerome Carvin, Cooper Mays, uh, Darnell Wright. I mean, I'm excited about this offensive line coming back for next year. And I'm excited to see what they'll do today. I think this offensive line should be pretty healthy. I read Cade Mays probably not going to go today. And who knows if he's coming back. There's rumors that he may be coming back to Tennessee next year. But, it's kind of up in the air of what he's going to do. So we'll just kind of play it by ear to see what happens. Running backs I'm excited about today. Jabari Small, Jalen Wright, they're definitely going to be your 1-2 punch in this game. So not too worried about that. I just want to see if this offensive line is really healthy. We haven't played since the Saturday after Thanksgiving, and here we are on the eve of New Year's Eve, December 30th, and that gives Tennessee an entire month not only to practice but to get guys healthy and ready to go for this game. And like I said, having them extra 6 weeks of practice definitely plays dividends. And like I said, even going home and visiting family and enjoying the holidays, kind of not only physically rests your body, but mentally kind of rests your mind and gets you a fresh view of getting ready to play in this game. Like I said, wide receivers, Cedric Tillman, Bayless Jones Jr. playing in his final game at Tennessee. Hopefully he has a really nice end to his Tennessee career. Love to see another kickoff return for a touchdown for him. Be kind of an icing on the cake. Like I said, he's already got one. And Jalen Hyatt, expect him to do very well. And like I said, next year's wide receiving core is going to be quite interesting because outside of Cedric Tillman and Jalen Hyatt, you're going to have a lot of young guys in the wide receiver room, a lot of freshmen. I'll expect to see a lot of them to kind of start playing probably right out of the gate just to kind of build some depth. But, you have other guys like Ramil Keaton and Walker Merrill. It'll be kind of interesting to see how they do going into winter workouts and spring practice and a lot of stuff. Speaking of spring practice, of course, Neyland Stadium, we kind of mentioned this a little bit. Neyland Stadium is doing some major renovations right now. And it looks like it's probably going to be in the summer before the stadium gets open again. So there's a rumor going around, or maybe not really a rumor, but kind of a more than likely going to happen. And that is Tennessee may be playing the 2022 Orange and White game at Nissan Stadium in Nashville while the renovations are going on. They were kind of talking to some cities around the state that have a major football stadium. Obviously, I don't think they're going to use Vanderbilt Stadium, even though we kind of own that stadium. And I don't see the Liberty Bowl having it. So there was talks that might use Finley Stadium in Chattanooga, but Finley Stadium only holds I think 20,000. And it'd be kind of almost too big for just kind of the fan base and just the economy, the camaraderies, I guess. So it looks like Nissan Stadium has welcomed us to host our spring football game coming up in April. So we'll keep an eye on that for more news and notes. And obviously we'll bring it here on the Vol Society Facebook page. And of course, speaking of Nissan Stadium, Tennessee football posted a thing a couple days ago or yesterday. There is a ton of Tennessee fans going to be in attendance. They showed the seating map, and pretty much I would say 90% of the stadium is all orange, and then a little bit of Purdue section, and then obviously the Southland band's there and the Purdue band is there. So it's definitely going to feel like a home field advantage, even though we are this year the road team, or the Music City Bowl. Somebody asked that question, while we were wearing the white uniform. So basically, the Music City Bowl alternates the SEC every other year of who's the home team and who's the away team. So in the odd years, being 2021, we were considered the visiting team. So that's why we didn't wear the orange jerseys or the white jerseys. So we were considered the road team and Purdue's the home team. But as far as fans in attendance goes, it's definitely going to feel like a Tennessee home game. And yeah, I'm excited to see all that orange in Nissan Stadium, which we've saw before in other games that's played there. Uh, but it's definitely going to be definitely a home field advantage for us. And like I said, Tennessee dominates the state, even in the Music City with Vanderbilt in the same town. But Vanderbilt, they have I will say they have a good supporting fan base, but obviously Tennessee and Vanderbilt, it's apples and oranges compared to just the popularity in the state. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see this afternoon. As far as my score goes, I think I said 45-17 last night on the live stream. I'm going to stick with that. I think this is going to be just a total dominating Tennessee game. I don't expect a lot of mistakes. I think Tennessee is focused and ready. Physically, they should be healthy. Mentally, should be healthy, and almost feels like a season opening game to a certain degree. And like I said, Tennessee has played in many of bowl games in the past, and like I said, excited that we come to this game, even though it's been a very fast season. It just felt like just last week we were just previewing the Bowling Green game, and now here we are in December, are getting ready to kick off in a half an hour against Purdue in the Music City Bowl. Like I said, excited just of this whole first year. Definitely so. Chad said he had a doctor's appointment this morning. There were a lot of orange around Columbia, Tennessee this morning. Absolutely. I went out to lunch at a local deli in my hometown of Athens, and there was a lot of I saw some people wearing some orange and white. So definitely exciting time. Definitely, just excited to see just the Vol Nation just really coming together, especially with football being back on the rise, and getting the other sports to tag along with us. And like I said, the best fan base in sports, no doubt about it. Definitely. Like I said, just kind of just reflecting on the whole year, and we'll definitely reflect on the whole year in the post game show. Don't forget to join us following the Music City Bowl. We'll be back live, and I'm going to try to get Mr. Brad on to talk about it. But kind of reflecting from my fans' perspective, just the whole year. It's been kind of it's been an exciting season. I go back to that first opening drive against Bowling Green, and and I mentioned this on the live stream too. Just soon as just seeing Tennessee execute that offense on that opening drive, and we're so used to Tennessee run a play and then burning 20, 25 seconds off the clock, then run the next play. Well, it wasn't like that. It was every 3 seconds, 4 seconds, boom, 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 and then just driving down the field, and I'm just watching, mesmerized of what was going on. And then as soon as they got that opening touchdown, I remember thinking, this is not your grandpa's Tennessee football anymore. This is definitely the new age of Vols football. And, like I said, it's kind of carried the momentum, with the Bowling Green game was a nice opening win. Obviously with Joe Milton at quarterback, we thought he was the guy, the man, and it's kind of a head scratching first game. And then we go to the Pitt game and, end up losing to the ACC champions by single digits, the eventual ACC champions by single digits. And then that's when Hendon Hooker kind of took over after that. And like I said, it was still kind of between Hendon Hooker and Joe Milton going into at least the Florida game. And then after the Florida game, it was Hendon Hooker's job the rest of the way. And he just totally turned his game up. Obviously, I want to go back and play Pitt again in Florida. At Florida game, obviously they were ranked in the top 15 at the time, and wasn't look like as a bad loss. Now hindsight 2020, it's like, man, I wanted to play them again, and that's why I'm excited about next year's Florida game with Florida coming to Knoxville. If we're going to beat Florida anytime soon, next year's the year. You got to beat Florida while they're down. No more, just letting them hang around. You got to go in there and punch them in the nose and get an easy win from them. And I think this Tennessee team definitely deserves it. This fan base totally deserves it. we've seen in the other sports, Tennessee's dominated Florida in basketball and in baseball, and football's always been that 800-pound gorilla on our back. Well, here's a chance to punch the gorilla in the nose. And just kind of, and then, thinking about the blowout wins after that Florida game with Missouri and South Carolina, putting up, 60 plus points, 50 points, and just that offense really clicking. And then, the Alabama game, we were hanging in there with Alabama up into the fourth quarter, and then it ran away with us. And then the Kentucky game, which was a nail biter, but Tennessee got the win. And that's the thing, is Tennessee beat the teams that they're supposed to beat. And even those games that was a toss-up game at the beginning of the year, South Carolina, Kentucky, Missouri, Tennessee got the wins. And now, like I said, our founder Brad was the one that called Tennessee go 7-5 at the beginning of the year. I said 6-6, and now we're 7-5 and looking to possibly go to 8-5. Chad says, wonder how many Georgia losses with early NFL and graduation. I'm sure there'll be several. Trying to think who. Obviously, Jordan Davis, I know, is going to be a top draft pick, and I'm sure there's others. I'm just drawing a blank off the top of my head, but I think Georgia will have a lot of losses. But they've had good recruiting classes along the way. Obviously, their big issue is trying to find that quarterback that all. Like I said, it's crazy to think, and I mentioned this before. Stetson Bennett is a decent quarterback, but he's not an all SEC quarterback. He's not a Bryce Young or a Joe Burrow or even going back to a Tim Tebow. And that's the thing that's kind of hold them back, is like, man, if they would have, and I'm not, obviously it's kind of funny from a Tennessee perspective that they're struggling in that, but, you looking at the big picture here, Georgia's had a dominating defense all year, and Dan Lanning, their defensive coordinator, was rewarded and got the Oregon job. But if you think, if they would have put up 50, 60 points, kind of like what LSU did a couple of years ago or what Alabama did last year, they could arguably be considered the greatest college football team ever, but the quarterback play has kind of hurt them. But they do have the wins, though. It's going to be very interesting to see how they do tomorrow against Michigan in the Orange Bowl. I can see Michigan end up getting the win over them. But kind of looking at the future of Georgia, they're going to be hanging around. The media is definitely going to pick them to win the SEC East next year. I think we're probably the best team next year to possibly knock them off. Obviously, the media will probably say South Carolina because they're going to fall. I'm going to go ahead and say this. You're going to hear all summer in these preview shows, Spencer Rattler, the transfer quarterback from Oklahoma, coming to South Carolina. And right now, let me get a score update. They're playing in the Duke's Mayo Bowl. They were up on North Carolina. Scroll back up here really quick. 38-21. That game's about over. So South Carolina's about to win the Duke's Mayo Bowl. So you're going to really hear a lot of hype about South Carolina next year with Spencer Rattler and the tight end for Oklahoma transferring. And Shane Beamer's got this team going. But be honest with you, I'm not really scared of South Carolina next year. But I'm just going to kind of go ahead and give you a heads up in the summer. You're going to hear a lot of hype about South Carolina and Kentucky and maybe even Florida to a certain degree, which I'm not going to agree with. But you're not going to hear. I'm afraid you'll get some preseason hype from Tennessee, but I think the media is probably going to be like, well, we've kind of seen this picture before. 2016 Tennessee was the preseason favorite to win the SEC East, and we stubbed our toe, and rightly so. They probably should write us off, but in reality, I really think this team is got the best shot at knocking off Georgia next year. Now, will it happen? Only time will tell. We got to go between the hedges to get that win. Yeah, I agree, Chad. Hopefully, we will fly under the radar. I like flying under the radar and surprising teams at the end, and we did this year. Some of the media outlets picked us only win 3 or 4 games, and here we are, 7-5, knocking on 8-5, and especially, with everybody transferring out, hit the transfer portal after Jeremy Pruitt was let go, and you look at Eric Gray and Ty Chandler gone. Well, who's going to play running back? Well, Jalen Wright and had more rushing yards in a single season than Eric Gray did at Oklahoma. So just saying that, and Henry Toyo and many, just everybody else that hit the transfer portal, and now here we are. Like I said, Josh Heupel came into this situation. The program was in a mess. The NCAA investigation, that black cloud hanging over our heads. A lot of recruits was backing away from not coming to Tennessee. Like, I don't know. You got, and obviously they have the right to ask, am I get to go to a bowl game, or is this team going to be relevant when I'm here? And a lot of players kind of got scared, and even some in-state kids kind of got scared too, and kind of went elsewhere. But with the combination of the transfer portal, and I mentioned this several times, the transfer portal really helped us out, bringing in a Hendon Hooker who helped us out from Virginia Tech, and we talked. Bayless Jones has been around a little bit, but he was a big key factor, and Javonte Payton was doing great for. He got injured, and even Chase McGrath, the kicker from USC, has done a nice job. Very underrated kicker. I wish he kind of got a little bit more recognition throughout the year. Like I said, I think, as far as 2022 goes, hopefully we can, like I said, fly under the radar and surprise some teams. The schedule looks somewhat favorable next year. We got to play Pitt again next year, this time at Heinz Field. That game looked like it was going to be an easy Tennessee win, but now Keaton Slovis, the transfer from USC, is going to Pittsburgh, and he'll probably be the starter. And Slovis is a good quarterback, but he's not Kenny Pickett. I'll just say that. Obviously, we talked about Spencer Rattler in South Carolina. I think that's going to be your media darling champions going into the summer. Like I said, they don't really scare me. Kentucky, we get them at home next year, so I feel very confident with that. Vanderbilt's still trying to find its way, and then Florida's kind of walked into a mess. That was kind of the, somewhat of a disaster performance in the Gasparilla Bowl against UCF, and seemed like that team is very undisciplined as it is. And like I said, Tennessee needs to take advantage of that next year, while Billy Napier's still trying to figure out this team, especially early on. I mean, they were the number 78th recruiting class just back in the early signing day. You've had several Gators hit the transfer portal, and obviously we picked up one of them. So it's going to be quite interesting to see how, like I said, next year's going to go. Get to go to LSU next year against the Raging Cajun Brian Kelly. Down in Baton Rouge. So be interesting to see how LSU does next year. Kind of keep an eye out on them. Like I said, this team can next year get anywhere from 8 to 10 wins. I truly believe that. Like I said, I know, Chad, you mentioned earlier, kind of see how Georgia does. I'm going to be keeping my eye out on who's coming back for Georgia. I still think they're very talented either way. And then, like I said, to see how everybody else does. And we still got the transfer portal really going to be ramping up. And obviously, I don't see too many other guys hitting the transfer portal right now as far as big names go. I think if you wanted to enter, you probably already have entered. But now we're starting to see the pieces come together and who's going elsewhere. And I think Tennessee's about to really do a great job in the transfer portal. And like I said, you still got one more recruiting class coming, or one more recruiting signing day in February. Still got some guys that's kind of considering, and then some of your guys in 2023. I know the big name of the 2023 class is the quarterback from California who has a very long last name that I have to learn sometime. You probably have saw his name on there online. But it seems like he's can be a game changer for us if Tennessee does pick him up. Of course, we talked about Taven Jackson, who will be in next year, and I think he'll sit under Hendon Hooker's wing and Joe Milton's wing. I don't see Joe Milton going anywhere because I really don't know where he else can go. If he can kind of stay for the rest of his time at Tennessee. Lava something. Yeah, exactly, Chad. It's like Lava Levi. I can't. I've read it different ways. Our founder Brad's on the chat. Says 15 minutes, Vol fans. Definitely so. Looks like we're going to get this game on time, so no ESPN News or, pushing our kickoff time back. So thankfully, South Carolina took care of business. They are the Duke Mayo Bowl champion over North Carolina. That game took place in Charlotte just now. So we're up next in the bowls and the bowl schedule. And then mentioned Pittsburgh. They're playing tonight in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. That's at 7 o'clock in Atlanta. And then Wisconsin and Arizona State's in a bowl game tonight. Don't know which bowl game that is. Some West Coast one. But, yeah, should be very exciting. Brad's going ahead and give his prediction. 37-17. That's our founder Brad's our prediction. I'm going 45-17 Tennessee. Like I said, just kind of say the same thing. Tennessee just needs to take care of business, try to play mistake-free football, get off to a quick start. Obviously, the fan base is going to be there. It's going to be 90% Tennessee fans inside of Nissan Stadium, which is almost like a typical Titans game, if you catch my drift. As far as, like I said, just Hendon Hooker, the maestro, going to have to, just like I said, just get this offense clicking. Try to play mistake-free. Don't turn the ball over, which Tennessee does a pretty good job as far as not really turning the ball over, and they seem to be very disciplined on penalties. I don't expect anything too serious to happen, like I said, but, also you don't want to go in this game too relaxed either. Like I said, just go in there and execute your game plan and try to come out there with the win. Like I said, Purdue's down. Their top two wide receivers, two of their best defensive players, and another player out. It's going, like I said, just going to – I think Tennessee just has a lot of momentum rolling into this game, and I'm excited to see how they'll do in this game. Like I said, just I think defensively going to have to go after the quarterback. Aiden O'Connell is not a mobile quarterback at all. So if we can keep him in the pocket and or force him out of the pocket, I think we have the advantage. Chad says, come out on fire and don't let up. Absolutely. Like I said, hopefully it's kind of similar to the Liberty Bowl with Texas Tech beating Mississippi State. They dominated that entire game. And, there's been kind of some bowl games similar to that. Just kind of see if I can pull some up. It's not letting me. Oh, it don't matter. Like I said, just come out firing. And like I said, we got the offense to do it. Go up tempo. It seemed like I'm trying to think. I don't think Purdue has really faced any up-tempo offenses all year. Obviously, the Big Ten, that's not kind of their forte. They're a very, I guess, a traditional football football conference as far as executing plays. I mean, Ohio State's probably your more quote-unquote modern team. But, yeah, the rest of them is kind of typical Big Ten football. But, yeah, should be a lot of fun. All right, we'll kind of go ahead and start wrapping this up. We're 10 minutes away from kickoff in the Music City Bowl. Don't forget to join us following the game. Probably be around 7 o'clock. We will recap the Music City Bowl. Hopefully a Vols win. And like I said, we'll not only talk about the game, but we'll kind of dive into more about 2022 and just, what to expect to see, what Tennessee needs to do in the offseason before we tee it off against Ball State in September of 2022. So thank you for joining us this afternoon for this kickoff show. Hopefully everybody enjoys the game. And like I said, we'll talk to y'all following the Music City Bowl for Vols Society Live. Until then, have a great afternoon. And as always, go Vols.